The film starts with a narration about how some music is said to be so powerful, it can conjure spirits from the past and the future. However, it is also possible to attract evil with this power. Sammy Moore, Miles Caton, stumbles into the night, battered and broken. His face is marked with deep claw scratches, and in his trembling hands he clutches the shattered neck of a guitar, as if it's the only thing tethering him to life. He makes his way to a small church, where his father, Pastor Jedediah Moore, Saul Williams, greets him with both concern and sternness. The pastor pleads with his son to abandon the devil's music, to repent and seek salvation. But Sammy, haunted and defiant, refuses to let go of the broken guitar, gripping it like a cross of his own. The story then takes us back in time to 1932. In the Mississippi Delta, twin brothers Elijah Smoke Moore and Elias Stack Moore, both played by Michael B. Jordan, returned to their hometown of Clarksdale after years away in Chicago. There, they earned both money and scars, working under the mob, and now they're bringing their fortune home. With their hard-won earnings, they strike a deal with Hogwood, Dave Maldonado, a wealthy landowner, to purchase an abandoned sawmill. Their dream is to transform the lifeless mill into a thriving juke joint, a place where music, joy, and community can rise from the ashes of hardship. But their ambition doesn't go unnoticed. The Moore brothers make it clear to Hogwood that they won't be intimidated, not even by the Ku Klux Klan, who have long terrorized the Delta. While the old landowner dismisses their warnings, insisting they're seeing ghosts where none exist, the twins know the reality all too well. In the South of the 1930s, music could be more than entertainment. It could be a rebellion, a declaration of freedom, and for the Moores, something worth fighting for. With the dream of opening their juke joint that very night, Elijah Smoke and Elias Stack Moore set out to gather the final pieces of their vision. Their first stop is the home of their uncle Jedediah, Saul Williams, the respected pastor of the local church. The twins want music to set their joint ablaze with life, and they know there's no better talent than Jedediah's son, Sammy, Miles Caton. Though the pastor scolds his son for chasing the devil's sound, Sammy, restless and yearning for freedom, agrees to join them, promising his father he'll still return in time for Sunday service. From there, the trio retrieves an old truck the brothers stashed away before their deal with Hogwood, splitting up to cover more ground. Stack takes the car with Sammy beside him, and as the road stretches ahead, Sammy picks up his guitar and strums a tune. The melody is raw but powerful, filled with both sorrow and hope. Stack, hardened by years of mob life, can't help but be moved. He sees more than just music in Sammy's playing. He sees a gift that could light up the joint and maybe even change their fortunes. Their next stop is the bustling local train station, where they cross paths with the legendary Delta Slim, Delroy Lindo, a seasoned bluesman whose name carries weight throughout the South. With Slim's voice and guitar added to their lineup, the night is shaping up to be unforgettable. But while plans for the joint grow stronger, personal entanglements threaten to unravel them. Sammy's eyes wander to Pearline, Jamie Lawson, a married woman whose quiet grace captures his young heart. He boldly invites her to the joint, setting into motion a dangerous temptation. Meanwhile, Stack's own past comes crashing back when he's confronted by Mary, Haley Steinfeld, an old flame who never truly let go. Though now married, Mary admits she still longs for him, leaving Stack caught between desire, guilt, and loyalty. As evening approaches, the brothers gather one final recruit, Cornbread, a towering figure working the cotton fields. With his strength and commanding presence, Cornbread is the perfect choice to keep trouble at bay as the joint's doorman. With the pieces in place, Sammy's music, Slim's reputation, and Cornbread's watchful eye, the Moore brothers prepare to open the doors of their juke joint, unaware that danger and temptation are already closing in on them. While Stack and Sammy handle their side of preparations, Smoke drives the truck into town to secure the final necessities. He strikes a deal with local Chinese grocers Grace, Li Junli, and Bo Chow, who agree not only to provide food for the opening, but also to paint a sign for the juke joint, giving the brothers' dream a face to the world. But Smoke has another stop, a personal one. He makes his way to see Annie, Wunmi Mosaku, the woman he once loved, and the mother of his late daughter. Their reunion is heavy with grief and unspoken history. At their daughter's grave, Smoke returns a mojo bag Annie gave him years earlier, a talisman meant to ward off evil. Annie strengthens its protective power through hoodoo, and though she hesitates at first, she eventually agrees to come to the joint that night, to tend bar and fry up catfish, adding her spirit and skill to the evening. In this quiet moment, grief softens into tenderness, and for the first time in years, Smoke allows himself to hope. But elsewhere darkness brews. In a lonely shack, Bert, Peter Drymanis, and his wife Joan, Lola Kirk, are startled when a desperate man named Remick, Jack O'Connell, pounds on their door, claiming he's being hunted by Choctaw Indians. Sympathetic, they hide him. Joan even drives off the supposed pursuers at gunpoint. But when she returns, the nightmare reveals itself. Remick has already turned Bert into a vampire, and soon Joan herself is claimed. A new evil stalks the land, its hunger growing with the night. As the sun finally sinks below the horizon, the Moore brothers throw open the doors of their juke joint. Music pours out, laughter fills the air, and for a moment it seems like all their struggles and losses have led to this triumph. Yet beneath the glow of celebration, tension simmers. When patrons attempt to pay with plantation tokens, currency meant to keep workers bound to the cotton fields, Smoke sees the danger immediately. These worthless tokens could bleed their profits dry. What began as a night of promise threatens to descend into conflict, even before the real horrors arrive. Tensions rise inside the juke joint when Mary, Haley Steinfeld, appears. Stack, already on edge, orders her to leave, but Mary refuses. She insists she belongs there, that she wants to be among her family and friends. The air grows heavy, but before conflict can spark, the atmosphere shifts again. Across the room, Sammy's heart nearly stops when he sees Pearline arrive. The woman he's quietly admired is now in the crowd, and with Delta Slim at his side, Sammy finally takes the stage. The moment his fingers strike the guitar strings, the entire room changes. His music is more than sound, it's alive. The melody swells, charged with something beyond human, a rhythm so pure and powerful it seems to bend time itself. Patrons sway, laugh, cry, and for a fleeting instant, every soul in the joint is lifted into a higher place. Sammy has given them more than music, he's given them transcendence. But outside, darkness waits. Remick, Bert, and Joan arrive at the front door, their pale faces hiding the hunger within. They ask to be let inside, offering to play music of their own and flashing payment for entry. Smoke, sharp-eyed and cautious, sees through them. He refuses, denying them the threshold. Anger flickers across Remick's expression before the trio slinks back into the shadows. Stack, frustrated and vulnerable, confides in Mary about his and Smoke's financial troubles. Wanting to prove her worth, Mary seeks out the mysterious strangers who linger nearby. They show her a handful of strange gold coins, shimmering, otherworldly, and far too tempting. But when Remick reveals his true nature, the horror overtakes her. She begs them to leave, but it's too late. Remick's curse spreads to her as he sinks his teeth into her neck, making her one of his own. Moments later, Mary returns to the juke joint, her beauty now weaponized. With Cornbread unwittingly letting her through the door, she slinks towards Stack. The music slows as she seduces him with a hypnotic dance, pulling him into a private room away from the crowd. What begins as passion ends in horror. Mary bares her fangs and tears into Stack's throat. His blood spills, his body grows weak, and the night that was meant to crown the brothers, success begins instead to unravel in tragedy. Smoke stumbles upon a nightmare, the lifeless body of his brother, and Mary standing over him, drenched in blood. Rage consumes him. Without hesitation, he raises his gun and unleashes a hail of bullets into her. Mary collapses, motionless on the floor, but death doesn't hold her. Moments later, with a twisted laugh, she rises, her eyes burning with a sinister hunger, before darting out into the night like a shadow. Smoke drops to his knees beside Stack, desperate to save him. But the wounds are too deep, too final. His brother is slipping away. Helpless, he and the others carry Stack's body into the storage room, sealing it shut. The music dies, the lights dim, and the once vibrant juke joint falls silent. Guests are told to leave, their joyous night turned to whispers of unease. Even Bo Chow quietly slips away to fetch his family's car. Meanwhile, Slim is taken over as doorman while Cornbread heads outside. But when Cornbread returns, something is wrong. His voice is off, his tone strange, and his insistence on being let in sends chills down their spines. They hesitate. When he demands his payment, Smoke reluctantly pushes the money through the crack of the door. In a flash, Cornbread lunges, jaws snapping at Smoke's arm. Instinct takes over. Smoke fires his gun. Cornbread staggers, but refuses to fall. Horrified, they slam the doors shut and bolt them, sealing themselves inside. Then comes a sound none of them are prepared for. From the storage room, Stack's voice calls out, pleading, demanding to be let free. Annie warns them not to listen, but before they can act, the door bursts open. Stack lurches forward, no longer a man but a creature of the night. Annie hurls garlic-infused water across his face, searing his flesh. Hissing in agony, Stack bolts through the front entrance, vanishing into the darkness. The truth soon crashes down on them. Remick has been busy. Every guest who left earlier, every soul who wandered into the night, has now joined his growing army. Even Bo has fallen under his curse. Standing at the threshold, Remick reveals his true intentions. He doesn't just want chaos, he wants Sammy. He claims Sammy's music holds power, a gift that could help him reach something he has been searching for all along. His words are a venomous temptation. He promises them immortality, belonging, and a sense of connection the living world could never offer. The lure is undeniable, but so is the horror. Smoke stands firm, his jaw set with defiance. No matter what Remick promises, no matter what horrors wait outside, they will not hand Sammy over. But fear seeps in when Grace's world shatters. Her husband, now turned, sneers that he will gladly transform their daughter Lisa into one of the damned. Her terror ripples through the room, a reminder that their enemy is not only outside, it's already among them. After the confrontation, a desperate hope emerges. Smoke argues that if they kill Remick, everyone else, even Stack, might be saved. But Annie crushes that dream with grim truth. Vampirism is no curse that can be undone. Those turned are truly gone, their bodies only walking shells. The only release is fire, sunlight, or a stake to the heart. The reality lands like a hammer. Every face they once knew is already dead. Their only option is survival. Hold out until dawn. But Remick knows their fear and exploits it. From the shadows, he and his brood unleash an orchestra of unholy sounds. Howls, shrieks, the pounding of fists on walls. The cacophony is unbearable, and then Grace breaks. Her sanity shatters, and in rage and despair she screams for the monsters to come and get them. The siege begins. The juke joint erupts into chaos as vampires crash through, tearing into the living. Smoke and the survivors fight with everything they have. But one by one, the defense crumbles. Grace is lost. Pearline falls next, her hopeful spark extinguished. Then Annie is dragged into the fray. But before she can be turned, she begs Smoke for release. His hands tremble, his heart breaking, but he honors her plea. With tears in his eyes, he drives the stake through her chest, granting her peace. It all comes down to sacrifice. Slim, knowing there's no way out for him, throws himself into the fight, holding the line so that Smoke and Sammy can escape. His stand is heroic, but brief. The two cousins burst into the night only to be met with their worst nightmare. Stack and Remick are waiting. Smoke is forced into a brutal clash with his own brother, torn between love and survival, while Remick corners Sammy. The vampire's goal is clear: to claim the boy and twist his gift into a weapon. Sammy resists, fighting with every ounce of courage he has. When his guitar is smashed, he doesn't hesitate. Grabbing the broken neck, he drives its silver edge into Remick's skull. The creature howls in fury, staggering. In that crucial moment, Smoke reappears, stake in hand, and drives it deep into Remick's heart. The monster erupts into a pillar of flame, his reign of terror consumed in fire. Dawn finally breaks. The light of morning sweeps across the battlefield, igniting the rest of the vampires in searing fire until nothing but ash remains. Smoke and Sammy, battered but alive, are the only ones left standing. With solemn resolve, Smoke hands Sammy the brother's car and orders him to leave town to find a new life beyond the horrors of Clarksdale. He knows his own fight isn't over. Remick had revealed a truth. Brett, one of the vampires, was the son of the local clan leader, none other than Hogwood himself. And with the Grand Wizard and his followers surely on their way, Smoke readies his weapons. The night of blood has ended, but the real war is just beginning. Smoke's instincts had been right all along. Before long, Hogwood, The very landowner who had doubted the brothers arrives on the scene, flanked by a group of armed men. Their faces are twisted with anger, and it's clear they mean to settle the score. The air is thick with tension, the night silent except for the crack of boots on the dusty ground. Smoke, calm but determined, removes Annie's mojo bag from his truck, a protective talisman he's relied on all night, and prepares for the confrontation. In a sudden, explosive moment, he ambushes Hogwood's men, moving with lethal precision. Bullets fly, chaos erupts, and in a storm of smoke and gunfire, Smoke takes down almost all of them. But fate is cruel. Amid the firefight, a shot finds its mark, and Smoke is struck. He collapses, bleeding and exhausted, the world around him blurring. In his final moments, his vision clears just enough to see Annie and their child nearby. They are safe for now. There's a fleeting sense of peace on his face, a quiet satisfaction that, despite the carnage, his loved ones will live. Smoke exhales one last time, and the night falls silent around him. Meanwhile, Sammy returns to the only place he feels he truly belongs, his family's church. Bloodied, bruised, and exhausted, he kneels before his father. Pastor Jedediah looks at him with a mix of fear and disappointment, pleading one last time for his son to renounce the blues, to give up the music that has caused so much pain. But Sammy, still clutching the remnants of his guitar, rises with determination. Without a word, he slips into the brothers' car and drives away, the night air whipping past him as he leaves his old life behind. Years pass. The scars of that night never fade, but Sammy grows into a legendary blues musician, played in his later years by Buddy Guy. His music carries the depth of every heartbreak, every battle, every loss, haunting and timeless, reaching audiences far beyond Mississippi. In 1992, after a performance in Chicago, Sammy is visited by two familiar figures, Stack and Mary. They are unchanged by the decades, their presence almost spectral. Stack explains the truth. Smoke spared him that night, under the condition that he never harm Sammy. Stack and Mary escape the juke joint before sunrise, surviving the horrors of that night. Stack senses the weight of Sammy's years, noticing that the legendary musician's life may not have much time left. He offers him the chance to be turned, to live forever, but Sammy refuses. There's a quiet defiance in his refusal, a statement that he will face life on his own terms. Stack then admits they have been following Sammy's career for decades, curious to see how the boy they once knew would grow under the shadow of that fateful night. They ask him to play one of the old songs, a piece from the days when music was everything, when the night was filled with both joy and terror. Sammy smiles faintly, feeling the memories of that night surge back, the juke joint, the fire, the laughter, the screams. He pulls out his restored guitar, worn but whole, and begins to play. The notes echo through the empty Chicago venue, carrying decades of pain, triumph, and unbroken spirit. As the song ends, Sammy speaks softly, almost to himself. Though the nightmares of that night still haunt him, up until the sun set that evening, it was the best day of his life. Stack nods solemnly, agreeing, his voice tinged with both sorrow and nostalgia. It had been the last time he saw his brother alive in the sunlight, the only day he ever truly felt free. The camera lingers on Sammy's hands as they rest on the guitar, worn but steady, a symbol of survival, of music, and of the bonds that outlasted time, death, and darkness. And with that, the screen fades to black, leaving only the faint echo of strings, a haunting reminder of the night that shaped them all.